I was finishing my lipstick. I'm sorry.
How dare you? My
My
hair looked
lipstick.
nice, and then Storm just like totally was rubbing against my face, and then it was all poofy. Now she is right here for this because she wants to be the center of attention. Um,
I decided to go very goth nature today.
nice.
You
I'm
can't
once
tell, but
again doing a
that
Gantt look
roses.
um, because it's easy to do a look.
I am of course repping my Ronin. So,
Yeah, that's
all
how it
right.
be.
You describe what book talk is.
Hi, welcome to Book Talk. This is where Sam and I force the other, where one of us chooses a book that we enjoy, like, love, and we
And
have
want
the
the
other
other to
one
read.
read it along with us. It started as a thing to get each other to read books that we like, so we can talk about them together. And then we meet up for this and we talk about what we like, dislike, blah, 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 all that fun book club esque stuff. Um, this week is Sam's pick for episode 29. Is The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. And yeah, it is the fourth book in the Raven cycle, the conclusion. Um, yeah, and it was Sam's pick. So
Yes, I will summarize it. So this book, to summarize, is a little tricky for the and here we begin, because like the entire point of the beginning of the book is depending on where you begin, like you begin the story changes the perspective of the story, and I really enjoy that. So
yeah.
we at first it goes through and it kind of summarizes the story from different narrative perspectives, where it's like if you start the story here, then it is about the psychics at a psychic at Fox Way who is very good at playing with time. If you take a step to the right, then it's about the daughter of a psychic who's really good at playing with time. Or if you take another step, then I forgot what Artemis's
Yeah.
intro there was. But so there's that. Throughout this whole book, we are given so many perspectives. And this book
Mm.
is really, in my opinion, this book is a really good example of how you don't have to follow any hard, fast rules on perspectives. Like when a lot of people and a lot of writers, I may also summarize, or this book talk might just be a little different because of my feelings and thoughts on this
Okay.
book. Uh, but a lot of times I'll like see writers or whatnot, and they're like stressing about the balance of the perspectives in their books. And this is one of those books that like I read it and I'm like, no, this is a good example of do whatever the fuck you want. Like whatever
Mm.
works for your story will be fine, and the reader will adjust. Because we are thrown into like we've got Green Man at some point we have Green Mantle's perspective.
Back again just for him to die.
There are like I think I want to say at least three people whose we get their perspective right as they die. So and
Yeah.
I so this book, the search for Glendower is in the back, almost as if it is being avoided in a way, and it does eventually address that fact, which I liked. But we know that from the last book, which ended on Piper making a deal with the sleeper who should not be woken up. And turns out that's a demon thing that kind of looks like a hornet. Very interesting that that is the shape that it takes. But
Sorry.
but but yeah, the Piper and the demon, and the demon thing is an unmaker, right? So we throughout the story we come to find out that the places like Cabe's Water, which are like places on the ley line where magic is heavily concentrated and stuff, and where psychics and other supernatural, basically like a supernatural magic hub, um, that when a lot of tragedy and bloodshed happens on those, a demon a demon-ish entity is then birthed from that, and if it is awoken and presumably made a deal with, we don't know if this is the rule for all of them, but this is at least the rule for ours.
Yeah.
The deal is made, and then it seeks to unmake that area. Specifically, this demon is targeting Cabe's water and everything associated with it because it was born from the from the idea of Cabe's water, from like Noah's death.
Mm-hmm.
Other people who have died in the search of Glendower and the favor. We also we're like reintroduced to Henry Chang, who, much like Kavinsky, did exist in the books previous to this, but now becomes a much bigger part of the narrative. Even becomes like the fifth in our group.
Yeah, which I enjoyed. I love Henry. Honestly, fucking icon.
Henry's so great.
So wish he was like a present member the entire time. I know it would have changed so much, but I just love his energy. And I love that everyone else is like coupling up and all this fucking drama, and he's like, I'm Henry sexual. And I'm like, yes, you are.
So Henry is this kid who's been like trying to make changes in the school through school politics and stuff. We've seen him on and off, and he's kind of tried to like befriend Gamzee a little bit and stuff. When Blue first met him, she hated him because he made like a self-depreciation joke that, if I remember correctly, was racist and sexist.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm streaming. I'll call you down when I'm done. My youngest just arrived home, and
Storm is currently attacking a paper bag in the background, so if that's too loud, I will mute myself as she is doing that.
But we come to find out, because there is a point when, also this is not going to be told in order, where it's just...
Oh yeah, the book is not in order, but...
The book is not in order, so I'm just going through the...
It all ends in the same place, but we pick up every every little while we pick up from a different point.
It feels like the way the book was structured, which this is just from like a like, you know, looking back, hindsight point of view. It feels like the book is structured to where it's like, here are my major timeline points, and then like, so it's like timeline point A, B, C, and then we get a bunch of perspective, and everything leads up to A, and then after that, everything leads up to B, which is actually sort of the formula that was also in the last book. It's just, I feel like there were longer stretches in between the points in the last book. This one, not as, like, this one they're much shorter, so it was a lot more noticeable, but not in a negative way, at least not for me. I followed everything.
Oh yeah, no. I enjoyed the structure a lot. It felt really like cohesive for it being a conclusion. So it's like, hey, this is all the characters really you've been introduced to. So we're gonna like catch up with each of them and then go from there.
Yes, which I want to talk more about that structurally later, because like I know like a lot of the times I think, based on our like previous book talks and stuff, a lot of the times you're the one who starts the writerly discussion, and I have to like switch over. But in this one, I think it's all me. Well, not all me, but I'm sorry. I'm very excited.
No. I'm excited too. I think it's a phenomenal book. I know I'm supposed to say that later, but I only have one iffy thing with it. But that does not. I mean, but I still like the book.
Same iffy thing. I don't know, but we'll see.
Okay.
Okay, so there's Henry Chang. So Henry Chang does this like test thing with Gamzee to like, because he's like, hey, I really, really want to trust you, and I want you to trust me. And it turns out that like Henry's mom is a magical artifacts dealer who had Henry go to Aglenby so that she could have a cover for working with Ronan's dad, Neil Lynch. And now she works with Declan, who, the reason that he's been so high-strung and stressed and the way he is because he actually helped his dad run the business. And like part of him, I think part of him was really like trying to, like, he definitely was trying to protect Ronan from it, but he really did not want Ronan to fall. He basically wanted to shoulder all of the weight of their father's shittiness.
Legacy. Yeah.
Yes. And but yeah, we'll get to that later. But yeah, so Henry has this like bee thing that is a magical artifact that he has in fact been kidnapped before, so that somebody could try to steal
And put
it.
in a hole by the French guys.
Yeah, La Monnier.
Yeah.
And his mom, he was like, my mom's an excellent haggler. They like had me tell her what they were gonna do, and she was like, I don't pay for damaged goods.
Which is insane to say
I was
about
like,
your child.
this woman is wild, but also it worked with minimal trauma. So
there's already going to be a lot of trauma, but minimum physical trauma.
There was always going to be trauma one way or the other. Like, he was kidnapped and held ransom.
Kidnapped.
But and he seems to not, like, he seems a little bit mixed up. Yeah, that's just how my mom is, and I get why she did it, but also, damn, Mom, why? So he and Gansey become good friends, and he is accepted by the group.
And Blue, yeah, him.
Yeah. Blue even like they go to a toga party, and she even kind of like he's just in the group now. He is a friend. He's a good one. He has no like tension or issues with anybody in the group, which is great.
Although I feel like I was surprised there was no like beef between him and Ronan.
I know, I did. Like, I guess Ronan at that point was too busy focusing on his own life to worry about.
But I also feel like Ronan was much more secure in his relationship with Gansey. Non-romantic relationship
arc.
Wow. Yeah.
So, with Henry. Oh yeah, one of the reasons that Henry like told Gansey, "Hey, now is the time for us to become friends and stuff," is because Ronan brought a psychopomp out of his dreams, and she has hooves and is very clearly not human, and they were transporting her via trunk, and Henry was like, Henry is basically like, Gansey, your trunk's open, buddy, and so Henry does admit that like the first couple times he approached him, he was like, oh, I did have ulterior motives because my mom wanted me to get close to you in your court, which is how he refers to the friend group. Like, you in your court so that I could, like, see if... I don't think he says it in the exact words, but basically if there's another... If, like, Neil has an heir to, like... Or if they knew about the thing, the magic artifacts that lets them take things out of dreams. So... Because they don't know it's a person, but they do think it's a thing. His mom also, apparently, the gray man, or not the gray man, no, Declan gets a phone call from the mom, from Henry's mom, and she's basically like, hey, I just wanted to let you know, essentially, because we're good business partners, that somebody is selling something big in Henrietta, and the wolves are going to come to your door. And he's like, well, thanks for the heads up. And we're still just business, which is funny because she steps over a personal boundary. He chastises her for it. Then he steps over a personal boundary and she chastises him. But at that point, so Ronan has been going through his thing where he's trying to dream up a cure for Gansey's allergy to stings, right? But the more he goes into the dreams, the more fucked up the dreams are, and the Cabe's water is very clearly being corrupted, and he can feel it. Adam, as the one also connected to Cabe's water, is feeling similar corruption and stuff, and like his hand is doing things he doesn't want it to. His eyes are going the opposite directions. He's like, something's up with Cabe's water. They go to take they call her Orphan Girl. Her actual she does get a name at the end of the book. It's Opal. So they take Opal to Caves Water to give her to Ronan's mom, who lives in Caves Water now, because she is a dream thing, and that is where she can stay awake without her dreamer. Which, as a reminder, was Ronan's dad, who Ronan is also kind of like trying not to think too hard on the fact that his father dreamed, which I really like that it addresses that is something, but Ronan is just like, I ain't thinking too hard on it. Them's my parents. I don't wanna. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
He's more worried about making sure that Matthew can exist once Ronan doesn't anymore. So they give her Opal, and then they're talking to her about Caves Water and its corruption, and she in the corruption in the dreams and the magic and stuff, and she actually takes them, and we see some trees being unmade is the words that they use, which the way it's described sometimes it kind of feels like things are starting to like dissolve from the outside in, and that's horrifying. That's kind
from
of
the inside out, right?
Depending on what's being described, because the way some things are described, I actually think it's from the outside. So like the bark and stuff is falling off, and with some of the animals, because they talk about seeing their like entrails and whatnot, and so I don't think everything's from the inside out. I think it's pretty fucking gruesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just saw Fox's message about how but where was I? Get me back on track.
Things are being unmade, the difficulty with dreams.
Also, so our lovely Henry Chang. The adults of Foxway are not doing nothing. They are just trying, because that, like, I don't remember if it's the first scene in the book or the second scene, depending on how you count scenes. But at the beginning, they are doing a psychic reading, and they're very vague with their foreshadowing in a way that I'm like, it's believable but rude. It's like, is she going to leave, and then it's like, so and so said, referring to one woman, and it's like, and she's going to come back, they said, referring to a different she, and I'm like, why you gotta be obtuse?
They're being so fucking vague
but rude. I only allow it because of the way the narrator has existed up to now. They're allowed a little leeway at this point.
That's within the style of the book, is to talk like that.
Yes. So yeah, then we've got our darling Henry Chang, who's supposed to be doing his homework, but he's in his underwear. And he has to go take the trash out. And while he's taking the trash out,
sorry, the way you said that implied that you can't do homework in your underwear.
Okay. My apologies. It's because he's
playing video games.
Like, he told his landlady that he was doing his homework. He's like, even though I'm just playing video games in my underwear. So
yeah.
The adults of Foxway. But yeah, Henry gets kidnapped again, sort of, by a
very nice kidnapping.
The first time I read it, I figured out it was the Gray Man. The second time I read it, I was like, who the fuck is this?
It's so funny.
I was like, why does this man feel so familiar, the way he's like handling business and everything? But the reader is told it's the Gray Man when he gets a phone call, and he's like, it basically like, yeah, Henry Chang's in my car. Well, I haven't kidnapped anybody in several years. And then he gives the phone over to Henry, and Henry's like, hello? And Gansey goes, hi, so I see you've met the Gray Man.
Yeah.
Who is investigating the seedy underbelly side of things, right? And because
the artifacts trade.
Yes, the magical artifacts trade to try to figure out what's going down, because of Green Mantle and everything he and Piper did. Which they meet at a grocery store, and they're all talking. Henry is given clothes to go into the grocery store, And then Laumonier, who, sorry, at one point we are introduced to Laumonier, which is presumably triplets.
Yeah.
Who are not quite identical, but they're like identical enough that they basically just all act like they are the same man.
Mm-hmm.
Like we find out they are in fact Piper's fathers.
They are.
No.
No. One of them is Piper's father.
I think the one with the French accent. He seems more emotionally attached to Piper.
Yeah, I think it is.
But like, I think it explains a little bit of why Piper is the way she is. If she grew up with three men, all just being like, "I'm dad, I'm dad, I'm dad," and like, but not as if she has multiple dads, just the same dad in three different bodies.
I think for that, only one of them is paternal towards her. I think the other two are much more dismissive.
Yeah, they're more her uncles, in my opinion. And she basically, like, she possessed one of them to talk to the other two and basically be like, "Hi, yeah, I dumped Green Mantle and I want to make up with you, and please set up this sale for me because I'm selling a demon." And they're like, "Okay, this seems weird." Yeah. And she ends up using the demon to kill Green Mantle. That's we get Green Mantle's perspective of him going to the house and being upset. Again, we get his weird obsessive perspective of apparently all the artifacts on display are the ones he thought Piper would like, but he's mad because he's like, Piper left me. Well, I left her first, but I was dealing with.
He's looking at a mirror that would have him cry, like have his reflection cry if he lost someone close to him, but his reflection's not crying, so he's like, "Oh, Piper isn't actually dead." And yet, she's not with me.
Yeah. And then Piper, like I said, she just uses the demon to kill him with a swarm of hornets, specifically hornets. And then, like, when we go back to her perspective, she's all like, "I had to do it to prove to my dads that I was serious about making up."
Mm.
That's the other thing. She only ever refers to as dad, not dads, so.
Yeah.
But then, Neve is with Piper, and kind of like the longer she's with Piper, the more she realizes how far gone Piper and the demon are and how out of her depth she is, because she's just like, "Oh, well, I'll just tell the demon to follow somebody else's order because it favors me, so it has to do whatever I say." And Neve's like, "These are not the same thing." Neve is eventually killed because she tries to get away and she uses a mirror to warn the people of Foxway about the demon. I think that's everything to get caught up to the point. Artemis has been stuck. Gwenthian's mother was a tree because they're essentially kind of nymphs.
Yeah.
They can be trees or they can be people, but they're more.
They can be within trees and then become one with the tree.
Yeah. And she was just like, her mom was unmade, which we get the perspective of the demon unmaking part of Cabe's water, and we are told that like a lot of the trees were old enough to like know what was going on, and they were trying to like stop him or like at least make it go slower. And so we get Gwenthian's tree mom perspective, and sort of where it's basically like she knows that she can't do anything to stop him. She's just trying to slow him down until somebody else can stop it.
So until she can be saved, and then that doesn't work, and then she dies.
It does not. And then Gwendolyn, she fucking wakes up. She's pissed. She goes downstairs. For some reason, Artemis has been living in the kitchen cupboard.
In the pantry? Yeah.
Yeah, she breaks the door down. He runs outside. She's like, "Motherfucker." He becomes a tree. And
yeah, he runs into a tree.
And she's mad about it. So, and then like then this is like all the information is put together, and so our gang knows that a demon is unmaking Cabe's water because Blue like uses the box to before she actually talks to her dad. They do know about the demon and everything, but it's like nothing super tragic happens to the gang until Ronan is going into the dream for something, and Adam joins him, and they go looking for Opal, and they hear her, and she's very upset, and they go find her and find the body of Ronan's mother. And Ronan is kind of comatose.
Absolutely destroyed, and then Ronan accidentally brings back, or no, I don't know if it was an accident, but he brings back some of his mother's body.
It's whatever is attached to him, because like I imagine,
yeah.
Because oh, hold on, we gotta talk about Ronan's little journey here, because Ronan and Declan after he gets the call, he comes into the city to talk to Ronan and to have a genuine heart-to-heart about everything. And that's when he's like, Ronan, I'm like, you didn't think Dad actually ran the business by himself. And Ronan was like, yeah, I did, but yeah, makes sense.
But the thing is that like he did, because Declan was so young when he was like being carted around on these things. But that's insane.
So and like Declan for the first time is like, hey, I know you're the Grey Warren. I know that you can do what Dad did. And like basically he's like, I know about Matthew and like all of that. And he's like, hey, do you plan to go to college? And Ronan's like, no. And then Declan's like, what is your plan? Which Ronan's like, I want to be a farmer and just tend the farm. But like he doesn't want to get super emotional about it, so he just says, I want to be a farmer. And Declan's like, this is serious.
Well, Declan, so he's like, so you're going to go into the artifact trade too? And Ronan's like, I want to be a farmer.
Yeah. But Declan's like, he surprises Ronan because Declan's like, hey, just come with me. He's like, let's just leave. Let's go to DC. Basically, just like, I just want to protect you and Matthew. I don't want you guys to get mixed up in this. And Ronan is basically like, take Matthew, and I will stay and handle the fallout and the farm. And so they have a really nice party and everything, and Ronan, and it's supposed to be Ronan's birthday party, but it's actually like a goodbye party and everything, and it's for Matthew. Everybody shows up because Ronan like calls and texts people, and he's notorious for not using his phone. So they're like, it's gotta be serious. At this party is when Ronan and Adam share their first kiss, and then Adam has a heart-to-heart with Gansey, and Gansey's basically just like, don't break his heart, because he is a fragile being. And Adam's like, yeah, I fucking know that, Gansey. And Gansey's
I love like, that conversation is such Gansey going, slut.
Well, Gansey's sitting there, and he's like, no, I mean it, Adam, you have to be really nice to him. And Adam's like, what the fuck do you think I am, a monster? And Gansey's just like, I mean, you hurt my feelings all the fucking time.
You're a whore.
So, Adam's like, let me be bi-curious, but I'm serious about Ronan. And Gansey's like, what the fuck ever. Your sister's on the phone.
The culmination of the
Gansey and Blue have also I have a problem with Adam calling Blue out, but then letting Gansey take his sweet time, and then when
Blue calls him out for that.
Yeah.
Well, is it okay if I help speed up the plot summary so we can actually discuss? Adam has known about Blue and Gansey this whole time. He finally confronts Blue about it. Blue is like, bitch, why aren't you confronting us both? He's your best friend. And hi, Blake.
I like that you said you want to speed it up, but you went into more detail than I would have about that.
Yeah, but I thought that was important. And so that, but everything's settled after
It's all out in the open.
Yeah, after Noah gets possessed by the demon, and then he, because his soul's deteriorating, the psychics of Foxway bring him back to Foxway. But then after the party where Gansey and Blue are bonding with Henry, they return to Foxway, and something's like the demon's possessing kind of Noah's deteriorating spirit, and then uses Noah to possess Blue and has her claw her eye, which ends with all of them in the hospital, and her having like stitches and stuff, and that kind of makes Gansey admit to the group that him and Blue are seeing each other, because he didn't know that everyone knew.
Everyone's out in the open. It's all good.
Yeah, and that kind of settles things because they have more important things.
Ronan's mom, dies. We find out. They go. Gansey has a heart-to-heart with himself about how he hasn't actually been looking for Glendower, because before he didn't know what life would be after Glendower, and now he does know what life would be after Glendower. He talks to Gwenthlian.
Oh,
and
there's also the reveal that Gansey has known he's going to die the entire series.
Oh yeah, Gansey was like, I knew. He knew the significance of hearing himself on the corpse road since book 1. And
that was the opening of the book. Yeah, of him being like, Gansey has known he's going to die.
Ronan doesn't know, but later they're gonna, that'll be a thing. But she talked to Artemis using the Ronan's dream cube thing that does the translating to talk to Artemis in like his original language, and that's when we find out that he is a tree person. She is half tree person, so theoretically Blue can do that too, and that he refuses to help them with Glendower at all, but he does give us the history and the lore of the demon, the Unmaker, and how the Unmaker works. And basically Glendower was brought here because where they lived in Wales, the Unmaker had destroyed that place. So that's how they knew to do that. Gansey is all like, okay, like that night everybody else is asleep, and Gansey talks to Gwenthlian. He uses her magnifying ability to be like, hey, show me the way to Glendower. Follows this magical white animal that like is then a bunch of birds, and he follows the birds. His car breaks down. Henry Chang is there. He's like, how the fuck you here? Henry's like, I told my bee to let me know if you needed me. And I'm like, Henry, why are you also
I was told to check my bee, yeah.
Yeah. And he, so they follow it back, realizes that they're going back to where Gansey died originally. And they go through the museum estate thing.
Yeah,
there's now an opening in the ground. Gansey's originally going down there by himself, but then because it's a caves water like magic thing, he loses the light and starts thinking about bees and almost dies. But our crew has caught up to him, and they were like, you dumb ass motherfucker. And so they go in and they're like, oh, this feels so right. It's good. This is it. This is Glendower. And they go and Gansey takes the helmet off. Glendower's dead.
Yeah. Skeletal dead.
Has been dead this whole time, which now calls a bunch of things into question about like who told Gansey that he was living or dying and that he owed it all to Glendower and stuff. We get a POV from Noah later that it was him. It was his ghost, because Ghost experienced time weird. So
yeah, so as he was dying, he told little Gansey, this is because of Glendower, which it is. That's why they became friends and everything, but it's not Glendower's decision. It was just because of the research for Glendower.
Yes, and then it's one of those things where it's like, was it fate? Is this a self-fulfilling prophecy? Is the future set in stone? So, which I enjoy more than like it is like definitively set in stone. So then we go back and they're like, okay, so the only way to unmake the demon is for somebody to sacrifice themselves. And Gansey's like, I'll do it because I knew that I was gonna die. And Ronan's like, the fuck you mean? And everyone else is like, yeah, Gansey was on the corpse road, it means he's gonna die. And Ronan's like, when were you gonna tell me? And Lucia,
Never.
Never. We were not.
No one was going to tell me, Ronan.
Ronan just sort of accepts that. Also, several times Ronan has seen Blue throughout this book. He calls her badass, and they fist bump. Just oh, you got stitches, badass. Scars, badass. So I love that little interaction between them. The demon, we're gonna stick to this part of the plot. We'll go to the auction. The demon possesses Adam after they've got like a plan.
After Gansey has a mental breakdown.
Yeah, Gansey has a mental breakdown, and then Adam's like, look, because they're like his magicians and stuff, right? So Adam's like, well, you don't have to stay dead. And so they're like, you can just die and then we'll just bring you back. And Gansey's like, okay, yeah, we could try that. But Adam gets possessed by the demon and tries to murder Ronan, who can't conceptually accept the fact that Adam's trying to murder him, which makes this go on far longer because everyone was like, no, we can't hurt Adam. And Adam eventually just throws himself into a table because he's like, fuck, I can hurt me.
Because he's like, stop me, and everyone's like, no, you'll hurt him.
No, he can't hurt you. And he's like,
do it.
But so they like tie him up and blindfold him, and they're in the car. And then the next scenes are from Adam's perspective, which I think really added to the tension and everything. Because this is the reason
I absolutely really disagree.
So we know that something is going on because like something happened to Ronan and something has happened to the orphan girl, and everybody's like, oh, what's going on? What's this? What's that? We get a call, like Declan's special ringtone is going off, so we can assume something has happened to Matthew as well. And basically the demon is unmaking everything. So Persephone's ghost comes up to Adam and she's like, motherfucker, why are you being stupid? And he's like, how am I being stupid? She's like, who'd you make your deal with? And he goes, Cabe's water. And she's like, uh-huh. Oh, also, Ronan dreamed Cabe's water into existence. So, like, the magic lay
into corporealness.
Yeah, he basically manifested a physical representation of the ley line.
Cabe's water, yeah.
Yeah, and so, which is why the thing unmaking Cabe's water, and it has specifically been targeting those Ronan cares about, and then wants to, everything he's created, and then Ronan himself. And so, yeah, she's like, so who'd you make the deal with? And he's like, Cabe's water. So, like, not the demon. And he's like, but the demon is corrupting Cabe's water. And she's like, okay, but is the demon Cabe's water? And Adam's like, no.
Yeah.
So he manages to get control of himself back in time to see that, like, Ronan has been, is presumably being attacked in his dreams and stuff. And then Gansey sacrifices himself to kill the demon. And that works. And then...
That's the end. And then there's an epilogue.
And then Ronan, they're like, I love Henry. He's all like, magician. And
yeah, figure something out. Because everyone's like, oh, Gansey's dead. And Henry's like, no, we're not just ending it there.
Henry's like, magician. And they're all like, we can't just bring people back from the dead. And he's like, but why not? He's like, I got this weird ass dream. So then they start to negotiate with Cabe's water because they're like, Cabe's water, please sacrifice yourself to bring Gansey back to life. And Cabe's water's like, I understand resurrection. I don't understand mortality.
Yeah.
And so, but through Cabe's water, like, discussing and feeling and basically analyzing them and stuff, it is able to bring Gansey back to life, but a little off, which...
But Gansey's always been off.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. It's like, which we discover Gansey has in fact always... This is why Gansey is the way that he is. This is why he's a little magical. This is why he's a little off. This is why he doesn't feel connected. And it is because he is essentially recreated.
Yeah. To also, a magical force idea of a person.
So, at some point when they were doing a dream thing, the Gray Man and Moira had come across them in the dream thing. When he discovered the body, his mother's body, so they had to pull them out. One of the Lamoniers showed up, And the gray man had to make a decision. He was like, I could spare this man, and then we could like run, and I would always be on the defensive to make sure that nobody ever came after them, or I can kill this man, they all stay safe, but then I must become the king of the underworld. And he just takes one look at like Moira and the kids, and he's like, guess I'm becoming the king of the underworld.
Yeah.
And I love the gray man so much.
Yeah.
So then he's at the auction to figure out everything. He's like talking to Henry Chang's mom. He's like, hey, so I'm gonna start a war in the magical artifact things. And she's like, okay. And he's like, I would like you to ally with me. And she's like, this could take a while. They're like negotiating that while Piper shows up with a demon thing. Nobody is feeling this demon thing. Her two dad, who are missing the third dad because the gray man has killed him, and they're like, we don't know where the fuck he went. They're like, Piper, no, this is too far. And they're like, you're bad at marketing. And she's like, no, I'm great at marketing. Look, it does everything I say. And they're like, no. And then the demon thing is like whispering in everybody's heads and stuff. And so one of them ends up killing her.
Her actual dad kills her.
Yes, he kills her, and then, well, no, he doesn't kill her. He shoots her, and then the demon thing goes over and starts drinking,
burrowing into the bullet wound.
And yeah, it goes to burrow inside her to unmake her. It's horrifying. But Gansey, like I said, Cave's water brings him back to life, and then we get the epilogue of like, where are they now, sort of things. Which everybody graduated except Ronan. Because
who just dropped out of school.
Well, he dropped out, but also Gansey gave up his warehouse. So Ronan has an illegitimate degree.
Oh, okay. Right. And then Adam confronts his parents, and Gansey, Blue, and Henry. They're Steve, basically, like from the meme where it's like, you and I, and your friend Steve, Steve. They're gonna go on a great American road trip.
Because of all the rich motherfuckers she is friends with, Henry is the only one who's like, oh, you want to travel? Let's go travel. Let's do it. We will travel together. I will fund your travel. And Blue's like, you know, I actually feel like you genuinely want to travel with me, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Which if I were Gansey, I'd be like, oh, but I try to bankroll you.
It's different. It feels different. Yeah. So, I really like this book. And my one thing.
What is your one thing?
The ending, for me, was so anticlimactic. Like, it was just, for me, it was just, like, so strong, and then it just kind of, like, sputtered to an end. And I was like, that's it? That's what we're getting?
I feel like that was purposeful, because of the themes in the book.
And I think I would have been more okay with it if our wrap-up was longer. Like, I still have so many fucking questions, and I know she's setting up for, like, another series, but I'm like, if this is the end of a series, wrap it up. Like, or like, you know.
She did such a good job of tying up so many loose ends, and then, I feel like the ending, for me to have had a truly satisfied ending, I would, about another hour of audiobook time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just from the point, I was fine. I didn't love, just because my own desires for fantastical and like more epic, like, you know, within the genre, epic style storytelling. I didn't love that Glendower was just dead the whole time. But the fact that it was Noah being kind of sneaky brought it back. Or like Noah being like the little twist of Noah being like, this is why, but not because of him.
I really loved the fact that Glendower was just dead. Because like by this point in the book, we have so much actual like definitive magic and fantastical elements and stuff. The idea that like but like Glendower not existing, it like shows that it's like there's still a lot of things in the world that could be true or are not true, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a balance to it, and I love the fact that Noah's existence and stuff is what brought them all together and kind of.
Yeah, but what I think I would have been even more like chill with that if we got the resolution of Noah. Like what happened to him after
Yeah, that's my one issue is what the
that.
fuck happened to Noah, because we don't know what happened to Noah in the
We had this
episode.
like such a big plot about him deteriorating and then we
Oh,
just never hear from him again.
okay. I think I know what happened to Noah, but I don't like that nobody addresses what happened to Noah. Because Noah was connected to the ley line and to Cabe's water, so if the demon unmade and then Cabe's water sacrificed itself, Noah would have been included in that sacrifice.
Yeah, but we don't fucking know. And
Yeah,
that's the frustrating
not
like
confirmed. Is Noah part of Ganzi now? Is that, the thing? Also,
yeah.
like, ghost timelines and stuff are cyclical, so like, did he always know that this was gonna happen? Is this why he didn't want to come back? Like,
Yeah.
that's
So
my only thing. I feel like every like literally everybody else got a nice little wrap up or bow, but we just don't know what happened to Noah.
them adding in the whole Gansey feeling so fucking bad about like choosing the search over his family, like not on purpose in this point.
Yeah, they entered when they went looking for Glendower under the thing. That
Yeah.
was another thing that because like I said, even though Glendower himself was dead, that area was still magical and stuff. Like it had Fae time. They lost an entire 24 hours.
Yeah, and so I'm like, and he like starts stressing about that, which is valid, and then we just don't. We're like, wait, how did that
Don't follow
resolve?
up with that. Yeah.
And then the
Send apology text or also, and he died again, and they don't know.
yeah, and I'm like, how did we smooth that over? And then I'm like, seeing when the world is like ending, the like fucking rivers of blood, like all of that shit. I think it's interesting seeing it from, or not seeing it from Adam's perspective, but I wish we had seen it first and then we get Adam's reaction or vice versa or something.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not getting the magnitude of what's going on.
Could have gotten the Ganzi's sister's perspective on the world ending and her.
That could have been cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, to make the horror of what's happening that would make Ganzi's sacrifice in this moment worth it, like seem like a rational thought that was like, oh, it's the only option left. I wasn't getting the like final like, whoa, I don't know, we have no other choice kind of thing. Like obviously I knew he was gonna come back the whole series. Like yeah, it's not that.
I would have preferred him stay dead, but that's just me.
I would have preferred there be more of a consequence to his sacrifice. It just kind of felt like, oh yeah, and that was happening the whole time. Oh yeah, and Cape's water goes back, but it's like, it's no longer physical, but it was mostly destroyed anyways. And I'm like, wait, what are the consequences? Everything turned out perfectly, and I'm like, the like one thing that might not be perfect is Noah being gone, but we don't know that, or like his family being mad at him. We don't know that.
Ronan's mama did. She was ripped apart.
But we don't have any, like, we don't pop back into Ronan's head or we do pop back in with him and Opal.
Was comatose.
Well, yeah, but we pop back in him and Opal in the forest discovering new things. Like, that's the teaser for the next book, which I'm like, okay. But I'm like, the consequence of it didn't feel like a sacrifice. The final sacrifice did not feel like a sacrifice, which makes it feel a little like...
I feel like conceptually it was. I think you have to be very emotionally to what Cabe's water was. Because, like, with Gwenthian, the tree was her mother. So presumably a lot of the trees in Cabe's water were actual, like, people.
Yes, but they're already dead. Like that, but Ganzi's sacrifice...
Not all of them were, though. Because if all of them were dead, they would not have been able to bring Ganzi back. the trees were dying as they funneled their magic into resurrecting Gansey.
Yeah, but they would have died whether or not Gansey made that sacrifice or not.
Would they have died if Gansey made that sacrifice? Because him making the sacrifice undid the demon, so the demon was dead. Nothing was killing them anymore.
But if Gansey didn't make that sacrifice... Oh, you mean bringing him back again. No, I'm saying I wish there was the pressingness of Gansey needing to sacrifice himself needed more for me. And then, so on the other side, I wish there was more of a cost. Like, if fucking Artemis died. Like, something more...
I wouldn't have given 2 fucks if Artemis died.
I mean, me neither, but I'm like, I would have cared more if Gwenthian's mom at that point died. But what I'm saying is, it didn't feel... The sacrifice, like, Gansey's sacrifice, I don't know, it just felt, like, not heavy enough. And then him being brought back... I liked Henry being like, no, fucking bring him back to, like, the group. And then the group bringing him back. But, I don't know, it just felt too easy.
I can see that. I don't mind that because I enjoy quote-unquote fairy tale endings.
I like fairy tale.
Used, but for how it is its intended use, I enjoy those. But I do think the book would have been improved if more time if the ending had been given a little, which, yes, it's already a long book, but, like, I didn't care. It didn't slog. It was fine. We could have given a little bit more time to the climax and the wrap up, which I will say I would not have wanted any, like, battle or fight or anything added in.
No, it's not that kind of book.
If anything, which I think you're on the same page with me. If anything, the opposite, where we just slowed down and really took it all in.
Yeah.
Especially since, like, I think part of the issue with that is it's like from a certain point, it's just back to back to back to back to back to back action, and so as a reader, we can get fatigued. So it's like so much was going on. By the time we get to the final sacrifice, it's not hitting emotionally because we have not had time to sit back and... Except that, like, weird dream thing Blue had where she's a tree and she's got Gansey inside her. And I'm like, honestly, I could have lived without this scene.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
And the fact that we go to Gansey next and he is not thinking about that at all. So I was like, oh, was that a trick? No, it just was a weird scene. Okay.
I was just having a weird dream, accepting that she is part wood nymph. Like,
yeah, I was like, I didn't need that.
So, I think that's the only scene in the book, though, that I would be like, I could live without that. Everything else.
And I think it's so much of the book is stepping back and looking about how things came to this point and very, like, slow processing. And then we get to the climax and we just completely change pacing.
Yeah.
Which makes it feel like, I'm sorry, what?
I think up to that point, like in the first 3 books and this book, I did not have any issues with the pacing or the balance of slow and fast, which is just another way of saying pacing. But but then, like, once they got to, like, the one point, it's just back to back to back to back action, which I would love to know why that happened, if it was a choice by Maggie, if maybe editors made her cut things out to save on time and page, or if she was just tired and she was like, I'm done, I just want to finish. I would love to know her insight into why she made the decision to write it that way. So, but yeah, I definitely think that it's probably emotional fatigue by the end of the book because...
Yeah. I texted you, I was like, I have 53 minutes left of the audiobook. How is that resolving it?
I was so far in the beginning at that point, and like I told you, I remembered almost nothing about this book from the first time I read it, so...
Yeah, and so I was like, I have an hour left, how is everything gonna resolve? And then technically resolved, and I was like,
Which we
that
got
should
to
have been more than an
Glendower,
hour.
and it was really bothering me because as I was listening, I'm like, okay, I was remembering and I was picking, up as sometimes happens. So I was like, okay, so I probably read this book first when I was in a brain fog or something. But then I'm like, I don't remember what happens with Glendower. And we get up to the thing, and I'm like, I still don't remember what happens with this motherfucker.
Oh
And
yeah, the entire time I was
I'm
so
like, and I
convinced
don't
that
remember. And I'm like, and I don't remember how the demon thing is resolved. So maybe Glendower does resolve the demon thing, and then Glendower was just dead, and I'm like, this is why. This is
yeah,
why.
I was like, oh, Gansey's the reincarnation of Glendower. That's why he's weird. That's what I've thought for all of
Yeah.
the books. And then I was kind of like
Turns
let
out
down a little.
he's just the reincarnation of himself in Cave's water.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
Does this
I
make
don't know.
Ronan his dad?
What?
I said, does this make Ronan his stepdad?
His dad and also his brother, and also his son.
Very,
Uh,
very mythology accurate.
yeah.
It's very
But yeah, so I was like, okay, this is, I don't know.
I think it's in part because Gansey was. I'm trying to figure out how to articulate it. So throughout the whole book, like throughout the first 3 books, Gansey is put together. No matter how stressed he is and everything, he's put together. He's organized and stuff. And the way he deals with the stress and everything is just stolen moments with Blue and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Doing things. But in this book, he is steadily losing his damn mind. Everything is slipping. All of his control over it. For the first time ever, his family has criticized him for his thing on Glendower because he missed the fundraiser.
Yeah.
And he can no longer balance everything. And okay, so looking at it from a slightly the tension and the horror perspective, I did like having that scene from Adam's point of view. But I do think the sacrifice and leading up to it should have
Literally anyone else. Ronan, I think, would have been. I mean, he's in and out of consciousness, but
Gansey's point of view.
Yeah.
For him doing it. Because we could have gotten, we know this is how he feels. And up to that point, we had gotten a lot of Gansey POV. But also, when the fuck has that ever mattered? So,
yeah.
Of just Gansey sitting there and going, I have to do this. Because if I don't do this, Ronan is going to die.
Yeah.
Right? I wanted that weight. I wanted that angst. I wanted Gansey looking at Ronan's unconscious body, seeing the number, looking at his phone, knowing how hurt his family is going to be, and then making the sacrifice. Because that's,
or even like him, like Ronan come into consciousness a little from Gansey's perspective, and like figuring out what Gansey's going to do, and being like, don't
do it. And
yeah.
Because, especially with like the themes and stuff in the first and second, like in the first book, with Neve making the point of, she's like, no, a sacrifice is when you lose something, when you give something up. And up to this point, Gansey, like, that's the thing. I think his character arc was written wonderfully, and I think his escalation to the sacrifice was great. And I do think it was a genuine sacrifice, because he had just accepted, like, he
wants to live.
There is life after Glendower. I do want to live. So I feel like, but like listening to you and stuff and thinking about it, I feel like we were robbed of that intense feeling of, oh, Gansey has sacrificed himself. Like, Gansey has truly given up everything he wanted, because he could have like had some internal things of, he's like, I'm never gonna be able to make it up to Mom. I'm going to die with Helen thinking the worst of me, right? I tested the limits of my father, right?
And so seeing his loved ones, like Blue, like, she's gonna have to live with the guilt of having killed me, even though it was my decision. Ronan's gonna not do well with the fact that I died for him. Adam probably feels like Adam spent his whole life feeling helpless, and now he's even more helpless right now.
Yeah.
And I can't even like meet his eyes for a final time, like, that kind of stuff. Where it's like, but instead, or like even Henry, who's like, I could have a future where I am better connected with the world. but we don't get that.
We don't. So it is that was an unfortunate perspective choice. Um, I mean, even we could have, if the concern was having too much Gansey POV, we could have switched over to Henry for part of the hunt
Yeah.
for the thing, and Henry just be like, he sees how Gansey slowly, because Gansey's realizing like, oh, that's where I died.
Yeah.
And Henry doing that. So
Henry's an icon. Sorry, I thought he was a great addition to the book.
I'm glad you really loved him. When I went to, because despite my criticisms, this book is still a 5-star for me. I still fucking love so much about it, and it is still I feel like it is still a great ending to a series. It is just one that could have been better, and I have ideas on how it could have been better. And so as I was like going to log on Pagebound, the like top review at the time was somebody who was all like, "What the fuck? Why Henry? Why add him? He was unneeded." And I was like, oh, I hope CB doesn't hate Henry.
Mine's literally the opposite. I'm like, why didn't we get Henry before this point?
I wonder if it was a case of where Henry did not actually matter until this book, and she was like, I will make him matter, and then like retroactively was like, okay, this will make sense for his behavior and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what I think. Or it's like I need a balancing act. I need something that's grounding to Gansey's, to all of them, because they're so caught up in these magical mystical shit. Henry is definitely has one foot in the mundane, one foot in the magical. And the fact that he's not abandoning his mundane friends, like he calls them his followers or whatever. Like, no, he still cares about them. He goes back to his house just in case like more hunters come by, so they'll find him instead of his guys. Like, I think he was a very good addition.
Also, he like at one point shows up at Blue's school to give her a ride somewhere, and she's like, no, and he's conscious of like the reactions everybody else are giving her, and he's like, how about we like pretend to fight and then you flip me off and stuff, and she absolutely loves that, and you know it works until Gansey pulls up right after, and she's like, this motherfucker, the love of my life. Maybe him dying won't be so bad. Gansey's like, I am so sorry, but Ronan wants us to meet at his house.
Ronan called, yeah.
She's like, he called you? And he's like, yeah, he called me. And she's like, oh my god, the world is ending. And then they show up and it's a birthday party.
Yeah, okay, so on Ronan and Adam's romance, I thought it was a nice... It didn't have to be epic and dramatic and everything, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that it was like, they just slotted together, because it's been the two of them for like 2 books now, like them going off on their own, like that being, like it's Blue and Gansey doing something, and then it's Ronan and Adam doing something, and so I enjoy the way it wasn't like, oh no, dramatic getting together. It was just like, no, they've got together. And then, like, there was a little bit of awkwardness, which is appropriate.
Ronan shot, and then Adam was like, I ain't against it.
Yeah.
But also, he did take a moment, which even before he talked to Gansey, he took that moment for himself where he was like, but am I actually bi? Like, not in those words, but basically, like, but am I genuinely attractive? Could I actually be romantic with Ronan? Because I don't want to just use him as an experiment. Yeah. Like, I don't want to just test my sexuality with him. If I decide to pursue Ronan, then it is because I am already secure in the fact that I am bi, and this is a serious relationship, which is... fun, makes the Gansey thing funnier when Adam is offended because he's like, excuse you, I've already had this conversation with me.
Also, them kissing, and then Adam thinking like he thinks that was Ronan's first kiss, and I'm like, so what's your dating history? Because that wasn't yours.
Adam now. How can you tell?
Yeah. So I thought that was fun.
I now have in my head where you pretending to be Gansey and going slut.
Yeah. I think Adam has definitely, you know,
Of
had
all of them, he has
flings.
shown the most interest in actually dating. So it does seem as
Yeah.
if he probably has dated a couple people at least.
Yeah.
So
Um, which I think
I
is
will
funny.
say we can look back at the way I've spoken about this book leading up to this and how my only thing that I remembered for certain was loving all of the Ronan and Adam scenes and there actually only being like two.
Yeah.
I get through the book and I'm like, huh, I thought that was so much more.
There is the slight implication that they possibly slept together.
Yeah, when
Um,
they were because Ronan was like, I kissed him, he kissed me, his hand was on my chest, and this and that, and like Adam had spent the night, so
and then they woke up and Ronan was at least not wearing a shirt
yeah.
because he was like tracing his tattoos. But I'm like, I'm okay with it just being.
Well, yeah,
They might have just
YA
snuggled
sex
without
is fine.
a shirt on. Like, yeah, whatever. It's perfectly okay like that. I'm like, but they're like 17 or 18. They might have had sex, yeah.
Probably.
Um, the
They
world's
may not have risked
potentially
it.
ending.
Oh, hold on. They might not have had sex just in case the demon took over Adam's hand in the middle.
I don't know if Adam was being truthful about that yet. Like
To
talking
Ronan he
about.
was.
Okay, yeah, to run.
That's part of the reason that them sliding from friendship to romance works so well is because at that point Adam and Ronan are only being 100% truthful with
With each
each
other.
other.
Yeah.
because they're like Adam's like, hey, my hand was possessed, and Ronan's like, oh, that kind of sucks, and then Adam's like, yeah, so about Cave's water, and Ronan's like, what about it? And Adam's like, did you dream it into existence? And Ronan's like, I think
I like how Ronan's like, I should have lied. And it's like, you didn't. He figured it out. You said like one thing and he figured it out.
That's because Adam was like flabbergasted. He's like, hold on, I have so many questions. And Ronan's like, I should have lied. And Adam's like, give me a fucking hot second
Just let me process it.
He's like, how long have you had? Ronan's like, oh, I had like a couple weeks or something like that. And Adam's like, yeah, I've had 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Bruh, give me a minute. Also, I continue to enjoy Piper as just the absolute worst person. The worst version of herself. I will forgive her for not actually understanding how the demon stuff works because that wasn't her interest. And I like the implied. We now kind of understand how Piper and Green Mantle got together in the first place. Because her dad, she grew up adjacent to this world. And
to the point where I'm like, she's been in the business longer than he has. And does his interest in everything come from wanting to seduce her?
It does sort of seem to imply that basically he's doing this to impress her, so that he can be a worthy reason that she fell out with her dad's.
Yeah.
He's not a good person.
No.
But his weird obsession with her, I am on board with.
I'm not. It's weird.
Know you're not. And that's probably a generational thing because my generation was fed a lot of questionable media. But it's
and I don't love her either. Like, I know last book I was like, she's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
Now I'm like, no. And I almost feel like a lot of her mistakes were like her being dumb. But that's fine because it's like kind of what they set up with her. Or like her jumping to conclusions. But she's also slightly going insane at this point. Because there's
the brain damage. Because when she woke up after being punched, she was like, how much brain damage have I gotten?
Yeah. And the fact that she's like literally has the demon in her mind at all time.
Yeah, in seriousness, I do think a lot of her mistakes and stuff are just coming from the demon manipulating her. And like, I think the demon plays an interesting balancing game of manipulating Piper and letting her know it's influencing her so that it can influence her deeper. And let me I absolutely love how the demon is written and just all of its effects and stuff on people, because like we're given the demon's perspective like once, but because of that, and then all of it's just like it's little subtle and in people's reactions to it, we can come to a very in-depth understanding of the demon and how it works.
I think its manifestation as a hornet, coming from the fact that it is from the ley line, or part, like, you know, paired with the ley line, and the fact that like the hornet is the manifestation of like our entire group's fears. Like Gansey's, you know, him dying, and then everyone else in the group, Gansey dying. It being a hornet is like perfect for that. Like that, it doesn't feel like, oh, it's a coincidence. It's like, no, that makes sense. It's taking the form
it like 100%
feels fear.
Yeah, it feels like because when the like we find out how how the demon is born and everything, one could almost pinpoint to Noah's death and Gansey's resurrection as when the demon was seated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Although that wouldn't quite explain Artemis's disappearance, but that's fine. Time doesn't work linearly in Cape's water, so.
Yeah, or the demon didn't have to be have a physical manifestation until something was done to trigger it. But yeah, so it taking a form of the hornet, I enjoyed, and it being like a hornet the size of the forearm. It's like,
I also. As much as I love the women of Foxway, I hate how much they baby Artemis.
Yeah.
He's just I'm too old. Too much has happened, and I'm like, bruh, you were alive and in the world less than 20 years ago.
You were fine. He did spend those 20 years directly outside the demon's tomb, resisting opening it, though.
Yes.
Like.
But that's not what he says his issue is.
Yes, and I think Blue points that out, where it's like, you were fine 20 years ago. But I think the demon also like fucked with his mind. Yeah. Like it's not just like time or being old or scared. I think he spent, or not 20 years, but 17. He spent the last 17 years. Yeah. Being tortured.
I do think that it has a connection to the old world, because he said that his old forest was unmade by a similar demon. So, and yes, I know that they correctly point out that you can't compare two people's judging when somebody's like, okay, but Gwynthion's living her best manic life.
Yeah, don't compare two people's trauma.
I still think they babied him too much. But
Blue agrees with you.
I know.
Also, did we really meet Jimmy before this?
Jimmy has existed. Jimmy has not.
Yeah.
But Jimmy has existed.
But it felt with her being so much in this book, she came out of fucking left field. Like, her appearance took me so much more off guard than Henry.
Honestly, I think she and Kala are dating now. Because I don't think they were sharing a room before now, but I could be wrong about that.
No, I think two of them were sharing her. I don't remember. But that was when the book opened with like all of them sitting out with and drinking and doing like spreads. I was like, the fuck is this person? We have like our main cast and then like outsiders all of a sudden just blooped, and I'm like, I don't feel like we needed you.
That's how important this was. They had Orla.
Yeah, but Orla has shown up and like been an active participant in scenes, rather than just being like, I'm also a person in the house.
I also live in Foxway.
Yeah. Cool. So, but yeah, I like the book. The ending was a bit disappointing for me.
Understandably. It didn't
But I would
wow
still.
me. But
Yeah, and so much. I think I'm holding it to a higher standard than most books because the rest of the series is so fucking good.
Which, and honestly, is fair. Because
yeah, like, so it definitely, the ending being like feeling like it dropped the ball brought down the book and the series a bit with it in my head, but not to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm never reading it again. No, I definitely have like the itch to read it again and then see how all the things line up, and almost to see if the ending would be more satisfying knowing it's coming and seeing how it lined up to get there.
I don't remember if I said it, but I had intended to say it when we did Blue Lily, Lily Blue, that like I didn't remember anything about book 4, so I don't remember if it's a good ending or not.
You did say that, yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, it's highly unusual for me to not remember things unless I read them during a brain fog, so.
Yeah.
Which it does appear so, because I still very much, like I said, it's still a 5-star for me. But I'm also, as a reader, I'm very generous with my stars.
Yeah.
So yeah, Frankenstein.
Frankenstein is my pick because we are scraping the bottom of the barrel of books I've enjoyed that aren't children's books. So we're so deep that we're going into assigned school reading.
I'm gonna just let everybody know now. I have such low expectations for my enjoyment of this novel.
I'm half expecting me to actually not enjoy it as much as I think I do, but it just having been really good for a school novel.
No, yeah. Someone has to be on the novel side. We have to have a special guest, Chris. He likes this book.
I will be on the novel side, probably.
Okay. All right. Well, to be fair, I have very positive things to say about Frankenstein in general. So
yeah, I do have the audiobook. I was like, I think I bought it at one point, aka my parents bought it for me doing it for school, because I must have read it in like 3 different classes over the years, like at different like colleges and high school and all that fun stuff. So it's a 3.5-hour audiobook. But yeah, Frankenstein, it's a classic. Most people have probably read it in school at some point, but not everyone. Yeah. So yeah, that's.
I will probably read it day of. But yeah, we will see everybody Monday. Bye.
Bye.